Well, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, welcome back to the dojo review. That's Age, and this is not our normal introduction because, as you can see from the title of this video, my YouTube account of almost 20 years was terminated in the wee hours of Friday morning. I was just about to head to bed, and I got a ping that my channel had been terminated. So, that's what we're going to be talking about today, and this is a warning to all other small content creators, wherever you may be with copyright stuff. As you can see, that company right there, DMM.com, is what issued 3 strikes to me in rapid succession, and my account was just terminated on spot, and we're going to get to what happened with that and why I disagree with YouTube's policy of not protecting their creators and stuff like that from stuff like this. But the long and short of it is, yes, what happened was this company here, and you can see their YouTube or their Wikipedia entry here, stuff like that. They're a Japanese-based company. They've been around since 2000. I had to do a bunch of digging this weekend, trying to just get in the right headspace to do this. I'm going to keep this as professional as possible because, a profanity-laced tirade is not going to get anybody anywhere. I'm incredibly upset by this. Obviously, I think it's ridiculous, but yeah, that is what it is. But either way, they issued 3 strikes to our Fire Force content. And for anybody who doesn't know what we do reactions and review of various anime. Now, to keep it short, whenever we do our reactions, we predominantly talk after the fact. We don't talk a lot during the episodes. The amount of copyrighted content that we potentially show is well within YouTube guidelines and is usually less than most of other creators. And I've been criticized in my comment section saying I don't show enough of the episode. And I spent this weekend looking at dozens of other creators that do Fire Force, and they show far more than I do. Absolutely. I'm not going to obviously name names, but it's out there, and I have always been very conscious of showing copyright with how I do highlight editing and stuff like that, because, we're here to kind of pseudo promote the show. If you enjoy what you see, go support the original creators, stuff like that. Watch the show wherever you can, officially, whatnot. And I've never shown more than 5 minutes of any episode of any show that we've ever done outside of Ruby, but that was a Rooster Teeth thing, and they, you could get whitelisted and you could show the whole episode, stuff like that. Other things that are official on YouTube, say Vivzy Pop stuff like that. They're cool with that. But
yeah, that's kind of different because once again, those are more indie projects that have actually gone out and stated that they don't care if people show the full episode in their reactions.
Right. So in our case, I've always been very conscious of that. It was just kind of crazy to me looking into this company. If we go to their website right here, you can see they're a company that just hosts a bunch of manga, games, ebooks. They have an online salon, game, stuff like that. They have figurines, whatnot. It's kind of it's like an online store. It's kind of like walking into a Dick's Sporting Goods, except for anime stuff, whatever. And as you can see down here at the bottom, Fire Force is one of the shows that they promote, which is fine. But they obviously don't own the copyright to it. That's Kodansha and the guy who writes the manga. You know what I mean? So there are third-party companies that can issue these strikes and claims and stuff like that, which that is what it is. I'm all for protecting copyright holders if people are using it maliciously, trying to profit off of it. My channel was not monetized. We had 150 something subscribers. We do this for fun on the weekends. It's, we've always stayed within the YouTube guidelines, stuff like that. I keep up on the new guidelines, stuff like that. And I knew anime stuff would be potentially a problem, but that's why I was always very conscious of how much I showed. And again, there are plenty of other creators out there who show far more than me, which that's their prerogative. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. It's just one of those things where it's kind of mind-boggling to me that a company like this found my small channel and struck every single one of my videos on Fire Force only. And that included the episode that came out last Wednesday, which was about a day and a half before I got notified that my account was terminated, which I got 3 exact same emails from YouTube saying my account was terminated. And it showed that, you know, I got 1 strike for like 5 of the videos, 1 strike for 2 of them, and the remaining 3 or whatever it was, that was the 3rd strike. So I look at that as a creator and go, so they just execute you before they give you a chance to fight back. That to me is crazy. I'm all for protecting copyright. They should be able to make their claims. If a creator is doing it in like a non-malicious sense, then you should be able to fight back before your account is terminated. You know what I mean? I understand the strike system, all that. I don't agree that your account can be terminated just boom. Just like that. You know what I mean? To me, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. People have
you should... Go ahead.
People have complained about that for years now, because this has been a problem for quite some time that a lot of companies and stuff like that have exploited, and that people have been saying that they want the system to be changed to make it to where you can only get 1 strike from one company within X amount of time. Even if that 1 strike correlates to, like, say, in our case, all of the Fire Force stuff, where, like, if the strike goes through, and, like, YouTube could say that we have to get rid of all our Fire Force stuff, that'd be fine.
Yeah, and I'd be totally fine with that. Like, if
most people will be fine with that, and most people would prefer that system. But as it stands right now, and has stood for the last like 8 or 9 years at this point. It was several years before we even started doing this. That was like a major loophole that a lot of companies and stuff like that have been exploiting. Of just, well, if we just copyright like 12, 15 things all at the same time, we can just get their account terminated and they can't really do anything about it to get back at us.
Yeah. So to me, that's absolutely ridiculous. YouTube should protect its creators that are doing stuff in good faith. And with the review process, I have emailed this company because when you get copyright strikes, they are by law required to show you who put the strike on you and how to contact them in a legal sense. So I emailed them immediately. Obviously, by the time I emailed them, that was the end of the workday generally in Japan. So I didn't expect to get a response over the weekend. But if I don't get a response this week, I'm going to look for any and all sources of being able to contact this company and say, hey man, like, I'm not, just explain my situation. I've had that account for almost 20 years. And going forward, obviously, I'm going to be doing something differently. The thing that I'm most concerned with is losing all my Twitch VODs for the last 5 years, because I put that on that channel and I have not been able to, buy enough hard drive space to save it locally. It's a lot of streams, you know what I mean? On average, I stream, 6-7 hours when I can live stream, and I started streaming on Twitch in 2019, and I have the from 2020 on, since the pandemic, I have all of my VODs on that channel, and that would be the biggest loss for me. Besides all the 20 years of like saved and liked videos and stuff like that. So that's the biggest thing for me here. Obviously, is those two things. I have all of our reactions and reviews since we started doing this a couple years ago locally, so that's not a problem. But this is still more of like the principle of the thing, because when it comes down to it, I disagree with the system. They should not just be able to lop your head off without being able to fight back beforehand. And in this case, this is a real company. They have plenty of employees. They're still active. There have been cases in the past where creators have been attacked by random third-party companies that have like 1 employee left, and it's just some guy being an asshole, and it's been well documented, and YouTube still doesn't do anything about it. But at least this is a real company and not just some like random guy. You know what I mean? I had to deal with that like a year and a half ago when I got a strike on one video and did some digging into who this company was, and it was just some random guy holding on to an LLC attacking small YouTubers, trying to get them kicked off the platform to get off on it, basically. So This obviously is not the case with this company, but the major issue with this that I have with them is they're claiming we used it's not even their copyright, the copyright of Fire Force in our the entirety of the video is the verbiage in the email, not just say from time frame 3 minutes to 7 minutes into the video. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, like during the live reaction section. Because once again, our video structure is we do our intro, that's like 1 to 3 minutes. Then we have our live reaction section that shows highlights of the show. And when we're talking about it as like a live reaction, which is usually 2 to 5 minutes max. It rarely goes more than 5 minutes. So it's less than, 20% of the actual episode. And then we spend a good 25 to 35 minutes talking about the episode, doing general discussion and review stuff. So they absolutely cannot claim that the entire video has their copyrighted content in it, because there's no video and no audio from Fire Force in the last 70% of all of our videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm more than willing to remove those videos from that channel, because obviously I would really like to get that account back. But going forward, all of our stuff is going to be on this channel. So I'm not going to be uploading on that channel ever again. I'm just going to make all that stuff private. And when I have the financial capability to buy enough hard drive space, I'm going to take all my Twitch VODs off and hopefully have that locally. And hopefully I don't lose everything, because this is incredibly upsetting. Because once again, I've had that account since I was a kid. I made that account when YouTube first became a thing when I was a kid. You know what I mean? So again, that's partially on me for not making a secondary account like this one. I made this account specifically back in the day for I think it was something to do with Wargaming had these things with World of Tanks and World Warplanes thing, and this is where I uploaded it to, because I don't know why. And that's how I found I was just when I loaded up this account earlier and to rebrand this account from just my Google account, I was like, wait, there's 3 videos on here, and it's these 3 World of Warplanes videos from 2013. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. So
yeah, when we very first started this, I did warn you that this kind of thing could happen, and that's why I'm trying to talk you into doing the secondary account thing. But we started this whole thing once again just purely as kind of a okay, we're already sitting around talking about this, so we may as well upload it.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the stuff that we started, we didn't really put much mind into it. So it just kind of turned into a thing where it became more and more effort to actually revert to quote unquote better practices, and it would just never happen.
Yeah. So, and I think that's something that as a creator you really shouldn't have to worry about. Once again, I understand that copyright is a big deal and intellectual property should be protected, and if people are using it maliciously, absolutely. But as a creator, you should not, especially in these cases, you should still have access to your YouTube studio at the very least to be able to go through a process and contact them. You know what I mean? And at the very least, if your channel is terminated, in the case of how they do it now, I can understand them blocking you from uploading content, but I don't know if I agree with just straight up just terminating the entirety of the account. Just in the case of your saved, your liked videos, the places you're subscribed to, that kind of thing. If it's a more personal account like mine and not a business account or just an extra channel or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So that's the issue that I take with it, is that they just lop off your head before you can even do anything, which to me is crazy, especially since this group here is not the official copyright holders of Fire Force. So if this can happen to me, obviously as a small YouTuber, it can happen to any of those other small YouTubers that I looked into over the weekend that show far more than I do. So, and I spent a lot of time on forums looking up to see, has anybody been copyright struck by this company yet? You know, when I looked into that previous company, there was stuff all over forums that had been happening for 5 or 6 years. This one, there's nothing. There's like literally nothing on it. So this is like a, you know, fair warning to any content creators, no matter your size. I'm sure they go after whoever. So especially if you're a smaller content creator that can't potentially fight back, be wary. If you're doing any of those shows that are listed on their website there, any of that stuff, be careful, because they might come after you too. So I'm doing this as kind of like a rallying cry to hopefully maybe get some attention from YouTube to look into how this system functions and stuff like that, and to protect the creators. There needs to be equal protection on both sides, for the people who hold copyright and against the people that are doing stuff maliciously, and creators who are trying their best to stay within the rules and are absolutely not doing just such as us and several other thousand creators out there that have to deal with this. So spread the word, you know, watch out for this kind of thing, and hopefully we can get something going. I'm going to be contacting some just bigger creators to see if they'll like discuss this, talk about it, because this is an issue just in general, and I would not want this to happen to anybody else that's just, you know, trying to have fun, just doing stuff within the rules, not maliciously doing anything, that kind of thing. So
yeah, and like you mentioned, the whole like of any size thing, freaking YouTube copyright has been such a shit show of shenanigans for the last decade that freaking even bigger channels jump through hoops to try to avoid stepping in shit. Like one of the biggest like reaction channels for like doing anime and stuff like that, Blindwave, they over the years have entirely moved over to, they don't show like any of the episode in any of their videos anymore. They have their own like third-party site that they run, that they act. This is where they should do any of the actual like reaction to their stuff and just upload the discussions onto YouTube with links to the reactions.
Yep. So that's all I really have to say about this situation here. Going forward, we'll continue on this channel, but the plan is we are only going to be uploading, just like Age mentioned with the Blindwave guys, we will be only uploading the review portion and discussion portion onto YouTube, which will have 0 copyrighted content. You can't copyright still imagery, and that's all that's ever going to be there. Is, you know, usually there's a still image to my left, which is the show we're doing, and a still image to the right, which is our usual image of the previous week. I just take a still image of each episode that I think it was a cool moment, whatever, and that's usually over there. And as we're talking about the episode, we'll pan through, and like say we're talking about Shinra from Fire Force, I'll have a still image of him from the episode just sitting there. I mean, other than that, that's all we're going to be doing. And for the reaction stuff, we are probably going to be doing like a timer based or a countdown based kind of reaction deal, but that's going to be on Patreon. Probably it's going to take me a minute to set that up, so once that's set up, I'll just have a link to the Patreon page, and I'm not paywalling this, obviously. It's all just going to be free on Patreon. Just have dealing with YouTube, and each of our review videos will just have a link to the Patreon reaction of that for the people that are interested in the reaction portion or just want to like watch along with us or whatever. So that's going to be the plan going forward for our content. So tomorrow, you know, we'll have the Fire Force final episode of this part of the season up, and we'll continue and finish up the shows that we were going to finish up, and then start our new set of shows here next week. But everything is going to be on this channel, even if my other channel does hopefully get reinstated, so I can get all my stuff back eventually and just kind of like shut it down kind of deal, and just still keep my personal account from 20 years that I've had it. Everything will be here. All the links, like on my Twitch page, will come to this channel from now on. and any and all links in the future that will be updated in, the about section on, this channel here. So there you guys have it. That's what's been going on with me this weekend. Don't take my lack of profanity as lack of me not being incredibly upset about this. If I do end up losing this account, I'm just going to be incredibly sad and disappointed with the system, and I'll keep people updated. For those who if I get emailed back from the company, we'll do something. But whenever this situation, I'll probably just wait till when this situation resolves itself in one way or another, and do like an update of like what happened with it, whenever that may be. So again, if you're a small creator, spread the word where you can. Try to get the attention of some of the bigger YouTubers to shed light on this, because our voices matter, and the more people we get behind something like this, the better, because the system is flawed and definitely needs change. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube beyond, however you're watching, we always appreciate you for your time, and we'll see you in the next videos.